Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear audience, Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all to today's New Bangladesh. Here as usual, we shall discuss new citizens, new science, new culture, new policies, new laws, overall New Bangladesh. Today in our studio as our guest present, Mr. Raihan Kibria and Mr. Issa Mainuddin. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you, sir?
We're doing all right. Thank you.
Dear audience, you know that our Honorable Chief Advisor, Professor Dr. Muhammad Yunus, has promised us 3 zeros, and one of them is zero poverty. You know that Bangladesh is naturally a rich country, but we have many poor people in our country. So how can we make poverty alleviation? That means our goal is zero poverty. So our today's topic is zero poverty. Sir, I'd like to ask you, Mr. Raihan, sir, you had been this place earlier, so our audience know you basically. However, tell us about you in brief, in short, sir.
Okay. So I'm working as a senior lecturer in University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh, in computer science department. Prior to that, I had long experience in corporate and in academic sector.
Thank you, sir. And about you, sir? You're a newcomer, sir, so...
Thank you, sir.
Us, yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm Issa Mainuddin. I'm one of the, I would say, luckiest person to have completed my entire academic life in Bangladesh. So I call myself a homegrown person. I have a long career record in telecommunication sector in Bangladesh. And I have also worked for some local companies, some multinationals, and I was lucky to represent an industry as well. So if I may mention the companies, I worked for Siemens Communications, Grameenphone, ADN Telecom, and of course I represented an industry which is the ICT industry. I was the executive director of BASIS. So that is all about me, homegrown person.
Awesome. What about your education, sir?
I got my master's degree from Applied Physics and Electronics, Dhaka University. Then I got Business Administration, Master's in Business Administration from Institute of Business Administration, IBA. And prior to that, I have a college from Fauzdar Cadet College.
Thank you, sir. Sir, at the very beginning, I would like to ask you a very popular question. Basically, what is poverty and what are the dimensions of poverty, sir?
Well, Dr. Amit, thank you very much. I think you have brought up a very interesting topic and it's very relevant. And given our age, actually, we are all very much concerned about the poor people. And our Honorable Chief Advisor, Dr. Yunus, he is actually a pioneer in this concept. So, zero poverty goal is actually to eradicate poverty in the world. It's a UN-defined term to alleviate poverty from all over the world. And we know that especially the African countries and some Asian countries, for a long time they have had a major share of their poor people. So UN defines poverty as someone who earns less than $2.15 per day. So that comes to be about 250 taka per day. So that's the official definition of poverty line. However, this is not a fixed definition because poverty and the dimensions of poverty that they vary from locality to locality, from country to country, and even from time to time. So it's a rough definition of poverty. And in our country, actually, even we were, since 1970s, we are actually quite poor because in the 90s, we had 50% of the people who were under the poverty line. So by this definition, about 50% of the people are under the poverty line. And now the number stands to about 18.7%. And there are lots of studies, lots of educated people, PhD and researchers, they studied about this poverty. Notable among them is our Dr. Amartya Sen. He studied several famines in Bengal in various times. So he took a very long view, and he also took this view is actually resides in his heart. And he studied and he found that actually the dimensions of poverty are just not limited to income deprivement. Most of the time, it seems that poor people, they lack health, for one thing, and then they lack education. This is another thing. Then they lack social participation. So sometimes if someone falls sick, they probably have no one else to ask for help. So all this together actually make a person poor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. Do you think that income inequality is growing in Bangladesh and in the world?
Yes, I think it's a very topical subject, because in the United States, even the United States senators, they are actually also concerned about it, because this income inequality gap, although the world as a whole actually has improved, the income and the living standards have improved in the world as a whole, but the income equality gap has always, it seems that it has gone out of control. In the US alone, there's a report by Oxfam which says that in the US, the richest 388 people, they have more wealth than the bottom 50% of the world population.
World population.
It's not the US population.
World population.
Yes, and the bottom half of the world population is about 4 billion people. So it's not a trivial matter. And in 2017, which is 7 years after that study was published, it was found that the bottom half has grown to 3.6 billion. So income equality has actually grown. It hasn't actually gone down.
Well, sir, my question is to you, that how this income inequality impacting the job market?
Thank you, Dr. Ramit. I think this is a very contemporary and very appropriate discussion at this moment, because we are seeing that unemployment in general, particularly amongst the educated youth, is increasing in Bangladesh. So when we talk about inequality, we actually probably refer to an economic inequality, which means we are talking about income, we are talking about wealth, and also we are talking about consumption inequality. And we see if a youth cannot make enough money, doesn't have a job, and doesn't contribute to the family and at large to the society, so eventually they become frustrated. And there is a historical perspective to it also. See, this part of the world, Bangla or Bengal, it has been one of the wealthiest places in the world.
Yes.
I mean, not many centuries ago.
Yes.
And then we know that there have been 2 or 3 similar economies in the world going back 2 to 3 centuries. And then we are talking about coming back to that level. We have seen during these 2-3 centuries, we have gone through political changes. We have gone through imperialism. We have been subject to misrules, and we have been subject to domination by foreign powers, etc. So it has been very recently, as early as the independence of Bangladesh in 1971, that we have our quest for being independent has fully flourished. So that is, I would say it is obvious that if there is inequality in the society, in the economy at large, then it always impacts the youth very badly. And I think there is a straight line relation between inequality and of course joblessness. So yeah, and so if we are to ensure our youth, our students get proper careers, proper jobs, we have to address that economic indicators, inequality and etc. at the very first place.
Well, thank you, sir. Basically, there is a book called From Prosperity to Decline about the bad luck of our country, that our country was basically one of the richest countries in the world, and after the colonialization by the British people, it was declining from prosperity to decline. How it was declined, why it was declined, okay, what are the policies were made to make our people poor. It is all written there in that book. Yeah. Well, so in this connection, I would like to ask you, sir, what is the goal of zero poverty, sir?
The zero poverty goal is a UN goal. It's actually to reduce poverty and make it a 0% by the year 2030. And the goal of the objective is actually multifold. So we have to look at poverty in several dimensions. For example, basic human dignity, and then you have shelter, and then nutrition, health, and education. So basically, the goal is targeted towards these 4 or 5 matrices. To put into perspective, it applies to us because since long, say since 1970s, we can see that maybe we haven't faced abject poverty, but Dr. Yunus, our chief advisor, he actually he saw abject poverty firsthand in Jobra village because he was working in Chittagong University, and when he saw the plight of the people in Jobra, he got moved too much. And he found that actually people actually were trapped into poverty. Also, 1974-75 famine in Bangladesh that killed about 1 million people. So all these things actually make people feel very helpless. Those people who are in abject poverty, but they are unable to educate their children due to lack of fund or treat disease. For example, even now, I saw many of my relatives who are living in poverty. They probably don't have the idea of curing certain disease. For example, cataract operation is a curable disease, but I found many people actually don't even go for those cataract operations because their mentality is still in the poor stage, poverty stage. And also you'll find lots of people who actually are unable to secure proper shelter, say free from flooding, and then mosquitoes, and suffer from malnutrition. And recently, the climate change has added to this another dimension because it is estimated that lots of people will be climate-induced poor in the coming days. Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. Now here comes the question about the exploitation, sir. There are many complaints about high exploitation. I know that the line of that song that Uday Osto Khete Tobu Jete Na Karo Pet Bhara Dute Dal Bhat. So do you think that exploitation is a matter in this set? I'm asking you, sir, Issa Mainuddin, sir, that why are the entry-level jobs are so low paid in Bangladesh? Can you explain it, please?
Well, again, it's all about the very basic equation that's demand versus supply. So we have all the supplies in the world. A lot of youth are getting their education from the schools, colleges, and universities, but we don't see that the similar rise in the employment sector, particularly the development in the private sector, is missing. That's why we are not seeing that a lot of employment is being generated, and so that is the trap. That is where our people, our youth is basically falling into. And if you see, I'll give you an example from my personal life. So we were recruiting an entry-level people for our organization like 3-4 years back. So we had a budget that we'll be offering 20,000 taka in the initial level, But the person who was in charge of conducting the interview, he actually managed the incumbents for offering 15,000 taka. People were agreeing to 15,000, though the company's budget was 20,000. Just because there were, lot of supplies and people were not getting their jobs. And if you know that the plight of an unemployed youth is not only about financial or monetary matter. It's all about the dignity, honor, and of course the potential related with that particular youth. That if you are jobless, you are actually dealt very, very harshly in the society, and that's where basically this thing comes in. And again, there are basically two forms of employers in the country. We have private sector employers, and of course the largest one, we have the public sector, the government, who are the biggest employer. And if you see that the salary structure, particularly the entry-level salary structure, I'm not sure if it is calibrated with what in the other countries people are getting. So, and I'm not sure if that is matching anybody's ends needs. So I think a lot of effort should be put into this area. What is basically a reasonable offerings to a fresh graduate or to an entry-level person. Because if you don't know, we know about private sector companies who have a calibration process amongst the, for example, multinational companies. We know about some banks who does this salary calibration, and they have, because they know that they have to attract quality, to serve their purpose. So these companies, they have become quality conscious. But I think public sector and many of the local private sector companies, they are not yet there, and they are offering whatever they would feel comfortable with. And we must remember that all the companies, they have their bottom line in the back of their minds. They are running after profit. So they would always want to maximize their profit. I think that is the reason we have lot of supplies, but not enough demand. That's the reason that we are being the youth are being exploited with lower salaries.
Yeah, well, thank you, sir. But as you served in Grameenphone, sir, I would like to ask you that at the very beginning, Grameenphone offered very much attractive salaries, but later it was reduced. Why it happened this? Only because of demand and supply, or any other causes?
As I said, a company who would run looking at his balance sheet only. I think that's pretty much understandable, that a company would always be driven through and by profitability. So as you rightly said, that the offerings in Grameenphone, when they started back in the late 90s, was competitive, or I would say competitive. Yeah, they were competitive, but eventually the number of employees also increased, and also the market, the industry also got saturated. So the growth, the profitability, the growth in business and profitability became stagnant at one point of time. So that happens with all the industries and with all the companies. So I think that's where basically this question comes, that whether the salaries of the late 90s and salaries of the 2010s were at par, or it was receding or declining. So I'm not sure if it was declining, but yes, at least in terms of job creation, I set aside the question of the amount paid or the salary amount, but in terms of job creation, the number came to a halt, or the industry got saturated. Not only in Grameenphone, we have seen in the late 90s there have been a huge opportunity created in the telecommunications sector, and that was because 2-3 companies. We know about Grameenphone, which is a Norwegian investment, and then we also know about some Malaysian investment and Egyptian investment that came in the country, and they created a huge job opportunity for the local people, local youth. Not only that, since these are service-oriented companies, at the back end, to serve them, they also created an ecosystem of other technology companies, where also our local youths got employment opportunities. So that, looking back, when that market or that demand came to a kind of stagnance, that's when basically a job. We don't hear that these companies are creating a lot of jobs these days, and that is because the industry has reached to a level where they possibly cannot afford to employ many people. For example, when we were working, Grameenphone once had 5,000 people, and we hear that at present they have less than 1,500 people. So that's a reality. I think that that we have to take into consideration as well.
Thank you, sir. And you, sir, you wanted to say something, sir?
Oh yes, I wanted to just add to the youth unemployment. Some of the things I found among young, there is a skill mismatch. So what is taught, what they're learning, and what they are being asked in at the workplace is quite different. So they are not readily consumable. And there is other thing is some of our universities. I'm not talking about the private universities. Like in the national level, some universities, they're producing lots of graduates. So the number of graduates is actually exceeding whatever we can provide with them. And also, I think there is another factor. Some youth, they actually do over the internet. They are doing some freelance things. So, and these people, they have probably some of them have never held a full-time job. So they don't know that there is some discipline required in the full-time job. All they want is freedom, and they are actually involved. They like doing those kind of freelancing. But those freelancing jobs actually are not really full-time or long-term solutions. So all these things add to the frustration among youth, I think.
Yeah, I think you have kind of nailed the hammer, because education is whenever we are talking about the youth segment in particular, education comes first. So I think it is high time we question ourselves whether our education system is delivering. Just a couple of days back, we have seen a report that our 12th grade education is compared to 7th grade education of some other country, etc. I'm sure we have, and we did not like this kind of report. We should not. I mean, being a patriotic people, we should not be liking this kind of report. But let's face the fact. So so again, back in the 90s, we have seen this proliferation of education system, particularly education system, coming into the private sector. Now we really need to, ask ourselves and take a fact check whether we are meeting the expectation that we are supposed to deliver overall the education system. Are we delivering? Are we producing quality graduates? If we talk to the industry people, we hear them that they say they are not getting quality graduates for their jobs, for their companies. And when we talk to the students, we see that they are not getting enough scopes with the companies. So there is a mismatch. So these three parties, students, the employers, and academia, I think there is a big mismatch amongst these three very important stakeholders in this discussion, and they really need to coordinate better to understand and to pave the path for the future. I think there is a huge coordination task to be taken here.
Right. Well, thank you, sir. Well, this is all about the graduates. Now, about the non-graduates, I mean those who have passed our schools only. Recently, I visited a center called Skill Creating Center, something like this. They are giving them skills, teaching them like caregiving, teaching them like freelancing, digital marketing, or teaching them something welding or electrician's work, and then sending them to Japan or to Germany or to somewhere else. So do you think that this type of centers should be increased?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and why not? Because, this population that we have is one of the, there's two ways of looking at it. Some people would say this is a burden, and some people would say this is an asset. So it is on us to decide whether how we would define them. I'm sure we would want to define them as assets. 2-3 decades back, there was a focus on vocational training in the country. We have seen some vocational training centers, but we have seen over the years that was the point I was trying to make a few minutes back, that whether the shift from these vocational institutions to general education through private sector whether that had worked, whether that had delivered. We need to ask these questions. So we have seen a lot of people getting degrees like MBAs or MScs or BScs. So whether we are fulfilling their dreams and whether there is a job for them, we have to ask these questions. If not, possibly we need to look into other avenues, like you mentioned, that and then again the technology evolution. Two decades back, possibly we haven't heard about the word digitization. So now the world is digitalized. We can think of a rural youth, working from his home and still can, deliver world-class, services to, world-class companies, etc. So why not we offer them enough training, enough opportunities to do that? Number one. Number two, there are countries who are actually short in manpower and short in resources. So we can possibly fulfill that gap. We have the youth. That's why we call this demographic dividends. So we are not, I think, till now doing enough justice to this dividend that we have. Almost 1/3 of our population is below 35. Almost half of them.
Yeah.
So we can, of course, do better. We have seen what our entire economy has changed through the contribution of the unskilled people that are working abroad. So if we can add some skill to that, I think not only the youth will get their opportunities working somewhere, we will be increasing the foreign remittance as well, many folds.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'd like to ask you that our country is basically, naturally is a very rich country. The people of this country shouldn't starve. For example, I have a little farmhouse in a rural area, so it's not a very big area, 40 decimals like this, but I dig a pond there and getting fish from there. Okay, there is poultry farm there, and getting vegetables and fruits from the same piece of land, and getting fresh water from underground, and getting solar electricity. So this is my experience that we have almost everything in a small piece of land. So the people of this country shouldn't starve, but many of our people are starving, not getting that much what they can get from the nature. So there is something called neoclassical economics, sir. So what are the shortfalls of this neoclassical economics?
Oh, yes. Thank you for asking this question.
Yeah.
Neoclassical economics is actually the economic theory that supply and demand, they automatically satisfy the market. So, for example, the businesses that generate some products, that product, if it is not cheap, the supply is not cheap, then there will not be any demand. And again, if there is no demand, there will not be any supply. So in the marketplace, actually, the product that is the cheapest with some quality, that wins out. So this should be contrasted with, say, a socialist theory, which is like the production should be handled only by the state, because the state can handle the efficiency of the scale of production. On the other hand, the neoclassical theory of economics, it says that actually the marketplace should be left independent of the state. So let the market, supply and demand, decide what to produce and what to consume. So that's the neoclassical theory. That is actually is being adopted and is followed everywhere in the world, especially in the Western countries, USA and the Western European countries. They follow this model. And over the years, actually, it has been found to be successful because we know that the prosperity has increased several fold. The Europeans were very poor 200 years ago, but over the years, actually, they have grown one of the most prosperous countries.
But not based on this economy, based on the colonialism.
Maybe one of the thing is they also try to export the same supply demand economics to the third world, which they colonized. And these people actually were not ready for that thing. And they have exploited, the Europeans have more or less exploited the situation in their favor. May I continue a little bit?
Yeah.
The problem is that even with that kind of market economy, still you find poor in America. Still you'll find poor in Canada
or in England.
So
yeah.
the question is why? Why, if that solution works, why do we find poverty everywhere, even in Bangladesh also? So there is some loophole, there are some pitfalls where the neoclassical economy actually failed to provide for everyone.
You know, this on the one hand, they are teaching us this neoclassical economy or market economy, but as I know that during the period of Bill Clinton, the state control was increased there, and that's why the economy also grew there.
Yes.
So what is your opinion of this? At that time, probably you were in USA.
Yeah. I mean, Bill Clinton, the politics and the economy is so mingled in the US.
Yeah.
So Bill Clinton is thought to be a very hospitable person. So compared to other presidents, he is very personable. So even to the stock market, they can sense his sincerity or the hospitality. So people say that actually probably because of this, the economy, people's good well-being has improved, because the stock market mostly is a psychological thing. So if people feel good, they invest, the stock market grows up. So that could be a plausible explanation. Also, if the state machinery is properly handled to provide short-term or long-term care in the market, it helps. So the Federal Reserve, the way they handle the inflation, the interest rates, it depends a lot on psychology and a lot on statesmanship as well. I think during his time, those things were present.
Thank you, sir. Now the question to you, sir, that you told that you are a homegrown person. So you never left Bangladesh, I think, never left.
No,
never left.
Yeah.
But you
Happily.
see, but many promising youth are leaving the Bangladesh now, leaving their homeland, and many promising youths, including my son, and they they wish to leave the country after their graduation. So why this tendency? Is it because of the job market or something else?
So brain drain. I think this is one of the very old issues that we have been discussing in Bangladesh. Since our liberation, we have seen our best resources leaving the country for better opportunities. It is not only about job. I think it is as Mr. Raihan was mentioning. The overall quality of life. So if we go back like 50 years just after liberation, instability in the country, political instability, economic instability, and possibly leading to social issues. That's when people started thinking about alternatives. I'm sure. Those guys are also as patriotic as I am, as you are, or you are. But still, people leave the country. So one thing is, as I was mentioning, from my life experience, I wanted a good education, a quality education. I got it in the country, so I stayed back in the country. I wanted a good career. I wanted a good job, a decent salary, and etc. For raising my family and contributing to the society. I got it in the country, so I stayed back. So this might not be the case for many people because the opportunities are scarce. It's not, we know about the, quality of education. We know about the growth in the public sector and private sector. Just going back a year, we know about this July Revolution in 2024, and this all started, this discrimination, this movement against discrimination. It was ignited from the job market, if you remember, a quota system and everything. So I think we are talking about the core issue that is prevailing in the hearts of the youth of the country. This discrimination is not only about job or education. It's about the societal discrimination that we are seeing. It encompasses all the factors, financial, societal, and it is a strong message against inequality. So that means there is inequality in every aspect of life, and this particular segment of the country, the youth, they are not liking this inequality, and they have raised their voices. So it is not only about getting a good job or good career. I think we have to look at we have seen people migrating at the age of 50 also, 50 plus people are migrating. So why are they migrating? I have talked to a couple of my friends who have migrated really late at the age of say 50, and their motivation was basically, as they are entering an age of old age, they are looking for themselves a better medical facility. As they are entering into a time, they are looking for a better education for their children. And of course, societal security, financial security, and whatnot. So that's when people make this decision that they would migrate for the betterment of the future of their family, kids, and themselves. So I think it's a intermingling of all this aspect, whether we could ensure enough quality in education system of the country, in the job market, and in the society at large. Societal insecurity also, contributing people are migrating. Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. Sir, as you mentioned about the famines, in 1770 and later, and during 1943 to 45 famine, and finally during the period of 1974-75, just after the Liberation War. And those people, those were the government at that time, they accused the time or the war for this famine, but actually it was not.
No.
Amartya Sen showed why. It's mismanagement of the then government.
Right.
Okay. Now at this moment, after the July Revolution, so Dr. Mohammad Yunus sir, he got a country, quite damaged country, but however he tackled our economy. Thanks to Dr. Mohammad Yunus sir. Now, what are the policies about this poverty alleviation in our country, government policies? Can you tell us first?
Oh, yes. If you talk about the policies, so for a long time, due to the famine, recent history of famine, this region has been in the spotlight for poverty alleviation. And various times, various government schemes have been proposed, and the NGOs have been working. So we have lots of people working on this. So government is there, NGOs are there, and from the NGO side, the notables are, I think you all know, BRAC is there, and then Proshika at some point, and then ASHA is there. Since 1980s, after the microcredit flourished, at that during since 1990s, it was evident that actually microcredit also helps in alleviating poverty. So BRAC, ASHA, and all these NGOs, they also adopted some microcredit schemes, and Grameen also was there. And I found that actually even government also introduced some policies where they also give some microcredit loans. And before that also, there are some other areas where government tried to collaborate, especially with the rural people, in various projects like fisheries, hatcheries, and agriculture. Bangladesh agricultural research is quite nice, the research in Bangladesh. And the urban, we are actually lagging in urban areas, because the urban unemployment is actually 5.6% more than the rural unemployment. Because I think, as we have mentioned, that there is a glut of educated, so-called educated people, but there aren't enough job. Or maybe the economy, everywhere it has been proven that if the economy has equality in it, then the wealth distribution or the means to create a new business increases, because people find themselves empowered. And I think over the last 20 years, that optimism has faded because the income generation capital was restricted to a few. So even if we say that we have actually come a long way in eradicating rural poverty, overall actually our businesses haven't really flourished. That we can see that we actually, as he has mentioned, Moni sir, that Grameen actually hasn't actually generated more employment. In other countries, a successful company always keeps growing, right?
Yes.
Always, they always keeps growing. If they fail to grow, they make a new venture or say make a side business that keeps growing. So for Grameen fund is not a problem. What the problem is that we actually didn't have enough ventures and new ventures. If the new ventures aren't there, then where will the employment come from? So my take it on is that the distribution of income generating capital, that was restricted. And may I mention that Nobel laureate, I studied 2 Nobel laureates. So they studied all those economies in the world who have succeeded. They have actually studied those economies which have been colonized before. And they found that unequivocally, wherever wherever the government acted transparently and wherever the government actually delegated the fund to all the people, those economies, they prospered. The administration became better and people started feeling well in those countries.
Thank you, sir. Sir, in this connection, I'd like to ask you that Grameen Phone was obviously very much successful at that time. So why it was so successful, and what was the role of Dr. Mohammad Yunus sir in this respect?
Thank you, Ramit sir. First of all, why it was successful? The one sentence answer is because there was demand. So this we call a latent demand. We did not know that people of Bangladesh had so much of communication need, which was latent. In the mid, 1990s, we know we only have 100,000, what they call phone lines, TNT phone lines. We had a government sector monopoly.
Yes, monopoly, yes.
Telephone and Telegram Board of Bangladesh, BTTB. So only 100,000, 1 lakh connections across the country. Now, where we are now? So everybody, I think, irrespective of gender, ethnicity, age difference, even a school-going kid is also carrying a mobile phone.
Mobile phone, yes.
So in terms of teledensity, we have come a long way, and because the demand was there, it was always there, and people wanted to, flourish. People wanted to always maximize their potential, and this technology gave them this opportunity to achieve that. So yeah. With regard to Dr. Mohammad Yunus, we know the success story of Grameen Bank. We know what has Grameen Phone done to the economy and how they have contributed to the global knowledge bank. We all know this. There has been numerous case studies in the universities across the world about this model. And now we are, in the midst of a, social business boom across the world. We have seen, Tokyo Olympic. We have seen, in Paris Olympic, how they have implemented this social business model even into the, Olympic movement. So that model is successful, and Professor Mohammad Yunus is the pioneer of this, not only in Bangladesh, across the globe. It is a highly, acclaimed model across the world now. So when a person of Professor Yunus's stature, wants to do something in the technology, I think he was the front runner in getting a good partner, because back in the 1990s, the technology, telecommunication technology was evolving very fast. We know about these GSM technologies. We knew about this CDMA technologies,
Yes,
and large telecommunication companies were investing in networks, and they were investing in areas that were never heard of. For example, Bangladesh. So, and we know about a couple of Bangladeshi entrepreneurs also. I can mention about Mr. Iqbal Qadi's name, who was also instrumental in bringing in Grameenphone to the country. So, and we know about this Norwegian telecommunication giant called Telenor, who are the public sector company in Norway. So we have this winning formula. One ambitious a technology company wanted to invest in a third world country, and they had this reputation, and of course this microfinance system already laid down in the society by Professor Yunus. So that was very easy for them to roll out the technology and reach out to the people who matters. So initially it was the idea that the mobile phones that Grameenphone will bring in, that will be distributed through the already the Grameen network. I'm talking about the microfinance network that has already laid down in the society through them. So that was the model, and based on that, all the business cases and everything were made in that time. And we have what we have seen. We have seen that those business cases were overshot, and very hardly we see this kind of phenomena. We always see that we make a business case and we usually fall short of the expectation. But here we are talking about a scenario we actually overshot the numbers by many folds. And someone was talking jokingly, of course, that the person who wrote the business case of Grameenphone should have been fired because it was so much undervalued or undercalculated. So that means the demand was already there, and the aspiration and the expectation of people to proliferate, to liberate themselves, and to materialize their potential was there. And we have seen since early 2000 that mobile phone, that's just a tool, by the way, but technology as a whole has contributed immensely to the to the advancement of the society.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Issa sir has already mentioned about social business. Do you think that in poverty alleviation, the social business is a solution?
Yes, I think right now it is being recognized that social business could be a solution. Especially there are perils in our supply-demand economies, the neoclassical economics theories, because some marginalized communities, they don't get to contribute in the economy. So as a result, what happens is those people who have not been able to contribute to the economy, they get left behind. And that is one of the reasons we see poverty in the multidimensional aspect of property. They cannot participate socially. They cannot participate in the marketplace. So even I think, I think you are a very educated person. Karl Marx, actually, he was against capitalism to some extent because he thought that capitalism actually is not going to solve all the problems. Actually, he was very wary that capitalism will give rise to lots of problems. So Dr. Yunus is actually thought to be the pioneer of social business. But he was not so much recognized in Bangladesh. But when he went to the US, I remember the first time I read about him was in 1993. I was in the final year of my undergrad, and I was an avid reader of Reader's Digest. So in Reader's Digest, all of a sudden I saw an article about Bangladesh, and those days I never saw articles about Bangladesh in Reader's Digest. Yes. So I read it thoroughly, and when I found that somebody, he was young then, he was smiling, and I read the whole article and I found it very interesting. And when I came to Bangladesh, because I studied in India under scholarship, after I finished, I came to Bangladesh, I found that no one knows him. That was very astonishing to me. Yeah. Maybe I talked to my father doesn't know him. So I was the only one who helped him. You used to inspire me.
The West knew him, but we didn't know.
No.
Exactly.
Like exactly. Well said.
Well, sir. Well, sir, I think I have covered all the questions regarding the zero poverty. Anything left, sir, from your side? Anything left, sir?
I think, sir, I think you have covered lots of things. One thing I would like to mention is like people, we often think that charity is going to, because we give charity to the people, but it has been shown that actually charity make people dependent sometimes, and charity has its own problems. So World Banks, they have lots of programs to help people through charity, but it has been found that the poverty alleviation actually doesn't get cured by charity.
By charity, yeah.
So this the new way of thinking about is make a business with them that gives poor people some agency, some control, and that way actually they prosper more. That's what actually has been proponent by social business.
So charity is not a solution.
Yes, charity is okay,
but
but solution.
well, sir, anything left from your side, sir?
No, I think it was a very enlightening discussion. Thanks to Raihan sir, and thanks to you also, Ramit sir. Just one final note on, because we started the discussion on inequality. I would want to go back once more to the to the discussion on inequality, and I would request our policymakers to, because this is, I think, where all the focus should be concentrated, inequality. This is the main issue, be it, wealth inequality, be it economic inequality, be it, income or consumption inequality. So inequality has to be removed. It has to be at any cost. And to do that, we have to possibly focus more on our education system, and not only making our people highly educated, but also making it more contemporary and possibly technology driven, so that the youth can understand the language of technology and can contribute in the technology boom. And we would also request the policymakers to focus on the labor market issues. We see there is a large gap between the private sector and public sector job market issues. I think somewhere the policymakers should make a bridge between these two things, labor market policies and etc. And of course, higher wages or higher salaries, higher compensation. I mean, this is a must for an aspiring youth, for a person with dignity who wants to contribute to the family and to the society. This is a must. So somewhere or somehow our policymakers has to make sure that our youth gets the worth of their potential. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. The Nobel laureate Harold Pinter, in his Nobel speech, finally he concluded that we lost the dignity of a people, our people. We should not lose it. Well, sir, dear audience, this was all with our today's discussion. I hope that you enjoyed the discussion. Thank you all. Hope to see you again in the next episode. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.